So he just tweeted this is breaking tweet, I guess, breaking news tweets. SBF says, I'm sorry. That's the biggest thing. I effed up. Should have done better. Okay. And then he makes some excuses how he could have been communicating more, but he couldn't because of the Binance deal. Okay. This is all about FTX International, not the US. Okay. And then he kind of does some convoluted like math, trying to fudge some stuff and basically saying, well, we currently have a total market value, including assets and collateral, that's higher than client deposits, right? So what does that mean? That means, we have more than enough to pay. But that's different from liquidity for delivery. As you can tell from the state of withdrawals, the liquidity varies widely from very to very little. What does that mean? Well, he's saying, well, I thought, we had zero leverage. We have more than enough for withdrawals. But in actuality, no, we don't have enough. And basically, since so much liquidity came out, we don't have enough to pay. Which, again, going back to this, if you have a total market value of assets and collateral that's higher than deposits, that should be no problem. But how are they measuring that value of assets and collateral? He must be including FTT in there, right? If you include FTT, which just like a few days ago was $6 or $7 or $8 billion. If you include that in there, then sure, it's probably more than client deposits. But if you discount that, if you remove that, well, then you don't have enough. So what happened to all the client deposits? Something happened to it. Well, maybe because it was all shifted between Alameda and FTX. Maybe some of it was loaned out or deposited in other projects. I don't know. So, that's why I say it's convoluted math. The bottom line is there's not enough. Okay? There's not enough. So he's like, well, everything sucks. Of course, it sucks. And then what's happening? He is going to try. He's going to try to do right by users by trying to get some liquidity. And he says if he gets any liquidity, every penny of that will go straight to the users. Okay? What does that mean going forward? I'm not sure. But we know that the SEC, the CFTC, the U.S. Justice Department, they're all looking into FTX and SBF, right? Could he be seeing handcuffs in the future? That's a real possibility if he broke any laws. But bottom line is this: kind of like Do Kwon with Terra, when things got really bad, he was looking for liquidity. That's the bottom line, right? SBF and FTX, I don't know. They seem like they're in a better shape, but who knows? Maybe it's not. Binance pulled out so fast, so their books must look really bad, or investigations are piling on. I don't know. Maybe they can find someone to give them some money at this point. Maybe here's the thing. If it was just like a 500 million hole, I think Binance could have covered that easily, okay? But that hole is probably not 500 million. That hole is probably like 2, 3, 4 billion, okay? And at this point, who's going to give them 3, 4, 5 billion? And also, there's this real threat that maybe he did break some laws, that he may go to jail. And then what happens to FTX then? So I don't know if he's going to get any money. To be honest, I think the chances are slim to none. But we will see. FTT tokens has not dropped more. It's still under $2 something. So maybe people think that there's a chance. Or maybe it hasn't fallen more because FTX owns 75% of the circulating supply. And of course, they're not selling their own token. And Binance is not selling it. So you're talking about that's already, that's 80-something% of the circulating supply not being sold. Maybe that's the reason. What happened? Treasury's going down. DXY, look at DXY shooting down, right? These are all good stuff. What happened? Well, core inflation went up by 0.4% instead of 0.6%. So it came in way lower. And overall inflation went down. We're now 7.7% year to year rather than 8.2%. So that's an overall big drop. Big drop indeed. So why is this causing markets to rally? Well, that means in December, there's another FOMC meeting. There's another rate hike. Maybe Powell can do a 50 basis point rate hike instead of 75 basis points, right? He kind of hinted that, but he said he's still going to be very hawkish. But now we're getting data that inflation's turning. So is he going to use it next month? Quite possibly. So right now, this is looking good. This is what's driving markets today. And if Bitcoin could break through this, and then we get some more short squeezes, hey, hell, who knows? We might be right back up to 20,000 because we were just there just 2 days ago. Maybe we just go right back up to 20,000 and we could all move past the FTX shenanigans. But in the meantime, there are some shenanigans I need to talk about. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been paying attention to what's going on with FTX and so forth. Well, Reuters just came out with an exclusive looking at what happened behind the scenes. But one thing that they revealed, which a lot of people didn't put one or two together, a lot of people thought that Alameda Research came in trouble after Luna collapse. Okay? But no, not directly, indirectly. They became in trouble, or yes, Alameda became in trouble when Voyager went down, not when Luna went down. Well, obviously, Voyager was affected by Luna, so indirectly, Alameda was affected by Luna, but it was Voyager that caused them to have discrepancies. In fact, $500 million worth. There was a loan from Alameda to Voyager, and of course, when Voyager went bankrupt, they couldn't pay back that loan. I mean, the whole thing was very convoluted because FTX is also an investor in Voyager. I mean, it's just, again, it seemed like it's out of one pocket into another, but that's not the case. They were down $500 million. They lost that. So in order to make the balance sheet look better, what FTX did was just give them a whole bunch of FTT tokens, $4 billion worth. But it turns out some of that were user funds. It wasn't all from FTX. Users, their FTT unfortunately was given to Alameda, right? So that's where the problem lies. Because yes, when FTT is high, everything is good. But when this was revealed, obviously leaked to CoinDesk, people are like, well, that's not right. How come Alameda's balance sheet is primarily all FTT tokens? And then, fear struck and the bank run happened, right? And then FTT tokens fell. Now it's like $2 something. So now you can see why that's a problem. But again, SBF was saying he didn't use user funds, but it turns out he did. That's the bottom line. That's the bottom line. But I don't know why Tether decided to freeze $47 million from FTX. I don't know what this is about, but Tether just froze $47 million from FTX. Not sure why, if they were told to freeze it or not. Kraken CEO, he has to do some damage control because Kraken does have 9,000 FTT tokens. They do have, but 9,000 seems relatively small at this point. But he's like, there's no damage to Kraken, but there's a damage to the industry. That's what he's saying. He's not saying that Kraken is bad, but it's very widespreading. Sequoia Capital, which is a VC in FTX, they put over $210 million. $210 million. And they're marking that down to zero. Basically, they're treating it as, we're never going to get that back. So we're just going to mark it down to zero. That's how bad it is. And all the other investors out there probably going to do the same. All right. Now, as for Binance, they're leading away. Yesterday at night, I was talking about proof of reserves. All the exchanges are going to do that. Binance is leading away, starting with this one right here, which gives you the main ones that they have. So right now in Binance's balance sheet, they have 475,000 Bitcoins, 500,000, close to 5 million ETH, about 17.6 billion of USDT, 21.7 billion of BUSD. Wow, they actually have more BUSD than USDT. 600 million of USDC and 58 million BNB. Okay, so that's what they have. This is not a complete breakdown, and they said that over the course of next few weeks, they will get a complete breakdown of everything. See, this is very fast. This is what I was making fun of yesterday. KuCoin and OKX and Gate.io and everyone else is like, yeah, give us a month, we'll have it, right? You don't need a month. You should know what's in your records. You go on a computer and then you can list out everything, right? So again, Binance seems to be making all the right moves to ensure people that, hey, we are legit. You can trust us. CZ even attacks Mike Novogratz a little bit because Mike Novogratz went on CNBC and claimed that El Salvador is in trouble because they have their funds, their Bitcoin on FTX. And CZ calls him out and saying that the amount of misinformation is insane because I just talked to President Nayib Bukele, and he's like, we don't have any Bitcoin in FTX. We never had any business with FTM. So, yeah, CZ's even out to correct misinformation. Let's just put it that way. All right, so there's just so much. There's just so much every day to talk about with FTX and SBF, really overshadowing the goodness right now with everything else. But Tron, Tron is also doing something right now with Alameda, even though their stablecoin has depegged, which is a little concerning. But they are trying to work out something with FTX so that users can get their assets off FTX. So people are noting that on FTX, TRX is skyrocketing because the only way to do so is to exchange whatever you have with TRX, and then you can withdraw it. That's what Justin Sun and FTX is trying to work out. Yesterday, people thought that maybe Justin was trying to buy out FTX. There's no way. He's just trying to work out a way to help users get off their Tron tokens. So at least that's good. But I don't hear anyone talk about Tron tokens, so I don't know how many are actually being moved off, other than his own, probably. What else is there? Tether processed 700 million redemptions in the last 24 hours. People are just afraid overall. And Tether also depegged a little bit too. Besides Tron stablecoin, Tether also depegged about 1%, but Tether has seen that. And they have seen way more withdrawals in a single day than 700 million. I mean, when Luna collapsed, I think there was like 4 billion withdrawals, and they handled it just fine. So that's also pretty good. Now, as for Solana, a lot of you guys are concerned about Solana. Well, one whale faced $51 million. Gone, poof, liquidation. So again, some of these leverage traders, they did not have a good day. But I've been mentioning about the epoch and how all these souls are unlocking, right? This number went down quite dramatically, and here's the reason. And there's also something I think going on with this epoch. This should have unlocked already, like hours ago, but somehow I don't know if it's being delayed or something. I saw someone mention about it. If you guys know more about this, you let me know. But this number went down by 28 million, and that's because the foundation themselves, for some reason, was going to unlock 29 million SOL themselves. So they decided to stop that. So the foundation is not going to unlock 29 million for, I don't know, related to a change in data centers provider terms of service. I don't know. They were moving stuff around because nodes were being shifted, something like that. So it's good. So it dropped from like 60 million down to like 30 million, because it was like 56 or got up to 60 million, right? But still, that's a tremendous amount of SOL waiting to be unlocked. But again, it should have unlocked already. So I'm not quite sure what's holding this up, but there's something going on. But Solana seems to have found the bottom. It's hovering around. It was at 15, it's at 16 now. So it seems to have found a bottom. So that's good overall, but still tremendous amount of SOL waiting to be unlocked.